In 12 through 15, we'll be solving rational expressions and setting up a domain. Okay, as you can remember, as you know from earlier in your math careers, you are not allowed to divide by 0. So any number that you can substitute into a denominator to make it 0 has to be undefined. So in 2 divided by x, if x was 0, that would be an undefined situation. And same thing in this part. What makes this 2x equal to 0? Well, 0, 2 times 0 is 0. So our domain is going to be all values for x except for 0. So that's our domain. Okay? So now, to solve a rational expression, we want to get rid of the fractions. The way to get rid of the fractions is to find the least common multiple, or least common denominator here. So what we can do is see what x, 2x, and 6 all go into. So since 1, 2, and 6 all go into 6, we'll use 6 for the coefficient, and x is the denominator, is the variable that we need to cancel out everything. So we will now multiply this entire expression by 6x to eliminate all the fractions. We can write this by 6x times 2 over x plus 6x times 3 over 2x is equal to 6x times 7 over 6. Now you can easily see what these are all in the numerator, what cancels here. X and x cancel, so you're left with 6 times 2, which is 12. The x's here cancel, and the 2 cancels with the 6 and becomes a 3, so we're left with 3 times 3, which is 9. And over here the 6's cancel, so we're just left with 7x. So 12 plus 9 is 21, and that's equal to 7x. So x is equal to 21/7, which is just 3. Now we have to go back and make sure this is in our domain. Since it's not 0, this is a solution to our problem. Okay, in 13, if we want to set up the domain first, we can have all x's so that we don't end up with in this case our variable is a y, so we can change our domain to y. Y such that y cannot equal 0 for this factor, can't substitute 0. And for this one, if you want to set up a little equation to figure out what you can't substitute in here to make it 0, you can set up a little equation to the side, 2y plus 1 equals 0, to see what y would be if we wanted to get 0. So we'll do 2y is equal to negative 1, y is equal to negative 1/2. So y cannot equal negative 1/2 either. So y cannot equal negative 1/2. So there's our domain. Now since we have just a ratio set up to each other, which is a proportion, we can just cross multiply. So we can do 5 times 2y plus 1 is equal to 9 times y. 10y plus 5 by distributing is equal to 9y. We can subtract the 10y to the other side and get a negative 1y. So y is going to equal negative 5 by dividing by negative 1. Since negative 5 is not a restriction, this is a solution to our problem. Okay, in number 14, we need to find the least common multiple or least common denominator here that we can multiply through by. So we'll say this is going to be y plus 2 times y minus 1. Since the denominator of 4 is just 1, these are your two factors that we can multiply through by. So if you want to see it all written out, it's just going to be y plus 2 times y minus